How we doing, guys? Another 2-Minute Tuesday coming at you, and today we're going to be talking about, let's say you've been on the phone with the client for an hour, you build rapport, you build trust, everything's going good, you get to numbers, and then they tell you, I need to think about it. The dreaded, I need to think about it at the end, and how to properly handle that. So Gabe, how do we address I need to think about it?
Dude, the dreaded I need to think about it. Like, man, I remember over the phone in person sitting right in front of it, and I was like, I'm thinking in my head, I see it on their face. They're going to hit me with I need to think about it. And I remember that felt like a death sentence. Like,
Yes.
That was the last thing you wanted to hear from a client. And I was like, because I wasn't good at dealing with it. And I would kind of flounder. I'd be like, sometimes I would almost like get like, your family needs this. Didn't you say so? What do you need to think about? And that would make the client get defensive. And then I would go nowhere. Figuring out how to deal with that really transformed my sales process. So Jonah, there's two things. The first thing, especially for new agents watching this, is the first question they should be asking themselves is, why did I get I need to think about it? Not how do I respond to it? Why did I get it in the first place? Because what I found was, especially in my early days, there's a lot of things in my sales process that I was doing that I wasn't answering questions. I wasn't pulling out the why properly. I wasn't dealing with objections that the client had in their mind that I could have foreseen if I was doing the financial inventory probably. And I was creating I need to think about it at the end. And so that should be the first question. I advise any new agent on here, when you run into that, get with your mentor, someone whose experience helps 30, 40 families a month, and go over that to make sure you're not creating that. But dude, what if you did it correctly? You're like, dude, I pulled out the why. They agreed with me. We dealt with all the objections. They don't have any objections, and they're just there. I need to think about it. There's a word track that I've used, and people who see me in presentations laugh, because sometimes I'd be on like a live dial and closing somebody down, and I see people mouthing what I'm saying, because they know exactly the way I'm going to say it, and it looks exactly like this. I understand. When you say I need to think about it, do you mean you need to think about whether or not you need it, or you know you need it and you're just not sure which option is best? I would say if the client is going to buy, probably a solid 80-90% of the time, that they're going to say that I know I need it, I'm just not sure which option is best. You got them right there.
It's the money track word.
You got them right there, because then it's really easy. So I'll be like, okay, so I'm just going to break it down from there. I'm like, so Jonah, so you like the idea. Let's say I showed you covering the whole thing on a mortgage with a ROP option and a non-ROP. So you know you need the coverage. I'm assuming that you like the idea of the return of premium, but you're just not sure if that $230 a month is going to fit in the budget perfectly. Is that where you're at?
Yes, correct.
Okay. But you know that you want to cover the mortgage.
Yeah, I want to make sure the home's paid off for my wife.
So here's what we're going to do, Jonah. We're going to go ahead and submit the application, get you approved for the non-ROP, because it sounds like if you're not sure about the $230, that the $100 a month would probably fit in the budget just fine. Is that right?
Yeah, I can make that work.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get that in place, make sure you're protected. If you have any idea that you want to change in the next 30 days, just give me a call and we'll change it right over the phone. Would you say 30 days is enough time to know whether or not you'd want to switch?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And what we're going to do, if I don't hear from you, you'll be covered. And then we're going to meet one more time a year from now. And if at that time you want to make any alterations, we can do that. Sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Dude, I've closed, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of clients. Because here's the mentality of what they really need to think about. I heard it this way when I was a new agent. People have wine taste, but a beer budget.
Yep.
And they like the idea of the more expensive, but they know right then, they have that gut feeling. They can't afford it.
Yep.
It's not going to make sense financially. They think that more time is going to make that decision easier, but time kills every deal.
Correct.
It's not going to make that decision either. And if I give them time, the odds of them buying anything ever, it goes way down. I'm doing them a disservice by giving them that time. So you closing them on the smaller option, what they can afford, getting that coverage in place. And then you're taking off the sales pressure by letting them know that they still have the ability to make a decision later. That's what I was really hurting myself, shooting myself in the foot. My clients were feeling like they had to make a permanent decision right now, forever. And the pressure was too much. They didn't want to do it. But when I alleviated that pressure by like, hey, if you want to alter the coverage later, if you want to upgrade, you can do that. And we're going to talk in a year anyway. Well, that just gave them so much security. They're like, okay, well, if I think about it, I'll call Gabe. And even if I don't think about it, he's going to call me in a year. And we're going to do it again. Dude, close so much business. So you might be thinking, if you're watching this, well, what about the other answer? What if they're like, well, I don't think I need it? Two things. Again, back to the first point. Go over that financial inventory and make sure that you hit everything, that you didn't miss anything. Because maybe this is one of those clients that, they're making 10 grand a month and they think all that money is going to go to their beneficiary when they pass away. That's not the reality. Maybe they're only getting 2 grand of that. If you miss that, that's your fault. And that's why they don't think they need it. But if you hit all that stuff and you maybe even agreed on the why, they're like, yeah, my family would be in a tough position, and they're still like, I don't think I need it. I mean, here's the reality. Your odds of closing that sale, for me personally, it's like 20%. Like, it's pretty low. Like that, you can't make somebody care, and so if they just don't care that much. But
click.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, exactly. Just a lot of times I'll shoot out 1 or 2. I'll be like, and I'll really kind of take the gloves off. I might even.
I go right for the jugular.
Right.
If at that point it's we're going back over the financial inventory, we're building the why. If the why is there and you need it, and I don't close you, we're not ending on good terms.
You're doing them a disservice if you do it any other way.
Right.
Like, I remember, Joan, I'll close with this. Like, I was training an agent in Crown Point, Indiana. And we had 8 appointments on the books that day. We sat with 6 and we closed 5. It was a good day. I think I closed like 9,000 in premium that day or something like that. And the one client I didn't close, it's so funny. It would have been the smallest premium of the day had I closed it. It was going to be like $50 a month. But it also was the one where they most needed it. It was like the husband was all of the income. And when he passed away, I mean, there was no confusion. The wife was, first month, not going to be able to afford the mortgage and need to get out of that house. And we get to the end and, he hits me with the, I need to think about it. I hit him with that response. He hits me with the, I don't really think I need it. And I just went right for it, dude. I was like, can I be 100% honest with you guys? They were like, well, yeah, of course you can. I was like, I don't want you to think I'm being disrespectful, but you'd have all the information so you can make the best decision for your family. Bob, is there any confusion that when you pass away, your wife is going to lose this house? And he's like, well, no. I was like, why wouldn't you want to get this coverage for $50 a month? And he's like, well, we pay a lot for cable. He really said it. And I looked over at the wife in front of him, and she was not happy either. And I was like, Bob, you're talking about cable. This is your spouse. And you're not leaving her money in the bank. The one thing you're leaving her is this home and your equity. Like, don't you think that's important? And he kind of, was uncomfortable, obviously, right, but didn't do it. And I was just like, you know what, Bob? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just my job to give you all the facts. It's up to you, whether or not you want to put this coverage in place for your loved ones. And he was just like, yeah, I don't think I want to do it. And I left. And I remember the agent with me. She was like, ooh. She's like, that was so uncomfortable. She's like, you went in on that guy. I was like, well, we know what's going to happen when he passes away. I want to make sure I'm doing right by that family.
I always say it's, because our job's not to be their friend. Our job isn't to build a ton of reports, to help and serve that family. Yeah. So it's one situation, like if they've got money and they got assets and they don't really need it. I mean, it's, that, you're not really, putting a lot of pressure on, but if they need it and the wife is going to be in a tough situation when, the husband passes away or whatever the case may be, or vice versa, if I don't help that family, I just want to leave that home or leave that appointment and get off the phone with a clean conscience, knowing that I did everything in my power to help them. And if they pass away the next day, that, it's not on me because I tried my best.
Yeah, 100%, dude. It's just doing right by that family. That dreaded, I need to think about it. I hope you guys are watching this and you see that you don't need to be scared of it. Like, go through that system. Make sure you didn't set it up for yourself. Hit them with that line, and you're going to see a lot of closes.
Absolutely. Guys, if you took value from this, please like, subscribe, and share with someone else that would benefit from this video. Have a blessed day.